We would really like to thank our channel members for making this possible. Another week of ITWOBL. Trevor Butz, how could you possibly keep up with all these games? It was a great weekend for me being a Rochester fan now. Wow, did we have a weekend? Let's start there. Did you think we were going to have a weekend like we did as far as Rochester's concerned?
You know, I guess I would have to say no because I did predict them to split the weekend series, but I can't say I'm too surprised, Greg. They are a very good team over there, and I think they are more than deserving of a 2-0 weekend. They, played very well against Philly, took it to them, and I'll tell you what, they really took it to my Bandits as well. They outplayed us from the jump, and 100% they deserved the win in that game.
Yeah, it was a big weekend for us. I mean, that kind of goes without saying. I think honestly though, with the Vegas game, it leaves a lot to be desired. Though I mean, yes, the Vegas offense has been better, but I wasn't crazy for them giving up 13 goals to the Wings. Though it's basically what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that is a fair point. But what I think is also important to know in that game against Philly is Rylan Hartley didn't start that game. I believe it was Riley Hutchcraft who saw quite a bit of action. So that makes a big difference. And they knew what they were getting themselves into. They had the two games in the weekend, and they were going up against Buffalo the next night. They were trying to make sure that their star netminder got a little bit of rest. Going into that game against Buffalo, looking at the numbers here, Hutchcraft, played 17 minutes in that game, faced 20 shots, made 13 saves. So after 7 goals got by, the Nighthawks realized, oh, we got to make a change. Mike Hazen, gave him the yank and put in Hartley, and that's when the tide really turned for him.
No, that was a big part of it. I mean, it's just you. It's a little tough because last year you really got the production out of Hutchcraft that kind of made you question if he was going to be the starter or not. But I think it kind of goes without saying that when you don't give somebody that many starts, you can't expect them to be able to jump in against this caliber of player and just be able to, adjust. Because the last time they were really seeing shots, they're on a 3-inch smaller net. Most of them are playing with a full size wooden stick. A lot of differences.
Oh, 100%. And, there's something to, I really think there's something to just playing like every day or every week, I should say. Like when you are the starter and Hartley goes into these games knowing, using him as an example, knowing I'm going to start every game. It builds your confidence and you get into more of a rhythm, in practice as well, knowing that, you're taking the starters reps. You're not, oh, I'm not taking backup reps one day, starters reps the next day. No, you are the starter. It is known. And Hutchcraft was in that position in years past when Hartley's been out. And well, you're the starter now. You're taking the starter reps every practice. You're going into the game starting. And I think that's part of what allowed him to play so well. I think he's a great backup option. I was actually looking through all the backup goalies very recently, and he might be first on my list if like I had to, throw somebody in there for the rest of the season or whatever as just a trusted option. Hutchcraft would be one of my first picks as a backup to do that, but Hartley still is just a level above. I mean, going back to the numbers, I said it about Hutchcraft: 20 shots, 13 saves. He allowed 7 goals. Hartley, in 42 minutes, faced 32 shots, made 26 saves, and only allowed 6 goals.
Yeah.
So right there, that tells you how much better, Rylan Hartley is. And, and he played not only a great game against Philly, he played a great game against Buffalo. And he's really putting himself among, the elite this year, I think.
No, 100%. I think that was a big part of it. Do you think, though, Buffalo's offense obviously not at their not at their peak. What's going on with the offense there? We talked a little bit about this before we got going. Really, the Bandits, you were not impressed with the Bandits' performance more so than you were impressed with the way Rochester played.
Yeah, I really in that game for Buffalo, it just felt like we were all out of sorts right from the jump. And I mean, credit, to Rochester, they deserved the win. I'm not at all trying to say they didn't. They outplayed us fully, but I felt like the Bandits beat the Bandits in that game. There were so many times where we just couldn't string 3 passes together. If we can't pass through the middle of the floor, it feels like there's no creativity on the offense right now. there were so many times where it was just little mental mistakes too, like you're cradling the ball and then it just pops out. Even if it doesn't lead to a turnover, why is it popping out? Like, why are we having that problem? It shouldn't be an issue. Guys run through the crease and then they're the next person to touch the ball. It's like, what
Well,
are we doing here, guys?
I
Like,
did
this is
have to
stuff that's
laugh.
got to be fixed.
Yeah, I did laugh at that. The commentators couldn't quite figure out what happened, and it's like, well, no, he ran through the crease. He can't play. So Tehoka ends up getting a delay of game penalty there. That was a huge thing. I think you're right. There was just, I don't know if they weren't expecting Rochester to be as good this year or what. Maybe they didn't. But a lot of it is too, though. The transition game for Rochester, I think, is huge, and it's not that you've got Gilray and Jensen, scoring crazy goals, but they're able to feed to the. They have so many studs that can come out of that front door. Rochester's offense, I think, is just that's one of the biggest things. I mean, Zed had what 4 goals, or no, 3 goals in his first 3 shots. He was on fire.
Oh yeah. Well, did you see how he first started that game?
Yeah.
That was the earliest power play in Bandits history. 3 seconds into the game, it's
Yeah.
got to be.
It,
That was funny. I had a good chuckle at that. But no, I mean, he penalty 3 seconds into the game, and then 3 goals. Like 3 shots into the game. I mean, he was killing it for them. 3 out of their first 4 belonged to Zed. I think he might have had a natty hattie in there too. Just 3 consecutive. Yeah, he was excellent. And you mentioned their transition game. They have a lot of transition threats on that team. You and I have gotten to see Taylor Jensen, with Tonawanda over the summer, among many others, Gilray, Medeiros, even though he didn't play. And I didn't feel like the transition really like popped in that game like a ton. There were some moments, but I really don't, that wasn't like a highlight for me. And the fact that you have that caliber of players and that wasn't even like a highlight in that game, says a lot about, how well-rounded that team is. And something that JT said, or I saw the quote at least in an article written by John Gertler after the game. It was something like, we expected them to pressure and we didn't handle it well. And that's kind of what it looked like. They brought the pressure, they brought the boom, and we were not ready for it. We did not handle it well, and there's adjustments that have to be made. And when you look at our offense, one of the big things that I don't like that I'm seeing is just we're not getting consistent secondary scoring right now. Like by and large, what Dane and Josh are going to do. Yes, they do have the occasional off night, but most of the time, what they're going to contribute. And it feels like without Chase and without, Cloutier, we're not getting those guys that you're going to get at least one from. I'm not saying either of them had to get 4 or 5, but if they each got 1 or 2 combined with everybody else, it adds up to an awful lot. And we're not really getting that this year.
no, and that is such a huge part is that secondary part because you expect your main guys to be able to one of the two of them get a hat trick. Between your two top scorers, you need 5 goals. It's better if you can get 6, but I mean you need 5 goals a night out of your 2 top guys. And I think that's Rochester's biggest asset really going forward is they have so many guys that can step up and fill that position. I think Connor Fields hasn't been shooting as much now. The numbers have come way down. They're starting to figure it out. They're going to get more lethal as the game goes on. The pressure, though, that is such a big thing. And honestly, I think that was a big part of the Calgary Vancouver game. Not sure if you had a chance to watch that, but when you take these young kids and you want to, pressure is everything. It turns you into diamonds or dust. You're either going to beat them and you're going to beat them big time. And that's why the pressure usually doesn't work great against a team like Buffalo because they can run by and beat you. Vancouver didn't seem to have an answer for that. Buffalo didn't have an answer for that. I mean, this game kind of took everybody by surprise, I would say. Calgary has responded beautifully. I think they are now, demanding some attention, and that Sanderson really kind of got his team fired up. And yeah, this was a loss, but man, what a game for them.
You said it took everybody by surprise. I think everybody but me, because I picked Calgary. So I expected a very good game here between these two teams. Just unfortunate for Calgary, it went the other way. Overtime losses are always, oh so difficult. But yeah, I got to see a bit of that one. But I mean, Vancouver's, they're just a loaded team right now. And of course, it's Curtis Dixon that comes back to hurt the Roughnecks, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that guy just, he always seems to be that guy. And OJ, that's one thing he said, because he's a friend of his, so he's excited that at least it was him that did it. But I honestly think so. Calgary, you're a young team. Tanner Cook's not that guy yet. They got rid of their captain and Jesse King. It's been a huge, uh, you know, they need that guy. Until then, I think, I don't know. I just look at it and I don't expect Calgary to win those games, but at least this kind of performance, now they're in the mix. They eventually will somebody will step up to be that guy. It's hard when you're that young. You're kind of figuring those things out. It will be a great team. How do you see them finishing out the rest of the year?
They're a team that teams in this kind of spot, you can either typically do one of two things. You can, band together and, rally around each other and your coach and, get fired up and fight hard and grow over the season. And, you might not make the playoffs, but you're probably not going to finish last either. And you'll have something to build off of. Teams can either go that way or they can fall apart and end up in the basement. I think this Calgary team's probably going to band together. I think there's too much talent there. I think they're, too well coached to just give up on their whole season, especially as we're not even at the midway point yet. I think they're going to try and band together, really grow as, the season goes on. And, they might win some big games late in the season. Maybe it doesn't mean anything for them by that point. We'll see. But I think that's how their season will go.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it was a huge fourth quarter for them to get Tanner Cook and I think it's Tyler Pace, but to get Tyler Pace to be able to really come through and do that. But that's got to be a pretty good feather in their cap. They held them scoreless in the fourth. Obviously, it doesn't matter because whoever won the game. But boy, Vancouver going down the stretch. You see teams do this all the time. You got a 4-goal lead, everybody kind of stops playing their game. I mean, how do you keep guys going like that? I mean, when you're watching games like this, what do you notice about it that really turns it around? Is it the pressure they're putting on? Is it the guys more worried about instead of getting the offensive rebound, getting off the floor? What do you attribute like that kind of play? Because we see it happen time and time again.
Well, to me, that's when teams are, instead of playing to win, they're playing not to lose, so to speak. And you got to just, this game is not over. You got to keep your foot on the gas pedal because, I mean, you've seen it before too, Greg. I mean, teams can, rattle off 4 goals in, a couple minutes in this sport. Like it's not out of the realm of possibilities at all. The game is not over, till the clock says zeros. So I think it's just teams kind of look up at the scoreboard, think, oh, we're up 4 or 5, whatever. We're good. We're rolling. And, before too long, it's a 1-goal game and you're in a dogfight.
Yeah, it's crazy. All of a sudden, it sneaks up on you. I mean, you talk about a dogfight, though. These high-scoring games, Vegas has been. I mean, I don't have their last scores in front of me, but it seems like every game is close to 20 to beat Vegas. I mean, they are just in shootouts. You talk about some exciting lacrosse to watch. They are right up there with some of the best. Like, I mean, it just goes without saying. And really, you look at it though. Kells with 32 saves, Chigliano with 33. The biggest difference is the volume of shots. Uh, yeah, this rush team, boy. At first when you look at the stats, you're thinking, what's going on? How are you letting Vegas score this many goals? But this Vegas offense has been doing it against everybody.
Yeah, I mean, as far as that game, I mean, 21-5. Oh my goodness! Sask had, I think, 18 going into the fourth quarter. My God, that's just like, I mean, they're a loaded team as well. They're, like I've said before, the true definition of a team. But you're talking about Vegas and how their seasons went. It seems like every game they need at least 15 goals to have a chance of winning. And like I've said before with them, there's never been a question whether or not they have the firepower. They got the guys up front. It's just they don't have the guys on the back end. They don't have the goaltending to, win these kind of games. And it's just, you can't, I mean, there's no world in which you give up 21 goals and win in this league. And just A stat for you about their goals against. Greg, they've only kept the team under 10 goals once this whole season. And guess what? They won the game 10-9. But you've given up north of 15 three other times.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tough thing. As you said that, I pulled up NLLstats.com so I can look at the goals against because, yeah, it's got to be an insane amount compared to what everybody else has.
Yeah,
Although
they got to be right up there. I don't have where they rank in the league in front of me, but I
they're in
mean,
second
you've
actually, though. They're so looking at it, the Black Bears, they've given up 71.
okay. Okay. So right at the bottom still, but not where you want to be. But I know they were getting a little experimental in that game as well, getting Caleb Kahn, the rookie out there. He had a rough go, faced 17 shots, only making 9 saves. But he's an 18-year-old kid. He's not going to be ready right now. You give him a little taste. That's all right. Let him grow and develop over these next few years, and hopefully he'll be ready in a couple years to be the man. But for right now, it's going to be a rough go, I think, defensively for Vegas.
Well, it is, and when you talk about that, you bring up bringing Khan in. I mean, they're kind of in that position right now with Kells. Do you let
Yeah.
him keep taking these? You know, he's got to take chances. You've got to get it your time in. You're going to have these seasons where things don't go well, and it's a learning process. I mean, that's just the way it is playing for these guys. But yeah, so if you've never been to NLLstats.com, make sure you check it out. But we could look at it right like this. I'm not sure how well you could see that, Trevor. But yeah, that is huge. But the biggest thing is I wanted to point out the saves. So I mean, Ottawa, we haven't really talked about how crappy their defense is, but we're going to get into it. I didn't realize they had given up that many more shots. I mean, you look at them in the Firewolves, that is a lot. Oh my goodness. That's not even the most. I could spend all day just like clicking on different stats here. Like
You
Halifax.
and me both.
Yeah, you look at how, it's like, oh my goodness, Warren Hill has been doing that good. Like we all knew he was playing good, but literally when you look at it, he's got 30 more saves over the course of 6. You know, that's 5 extra shots a game he's facing, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you're getting at least 1 goal out of 5 shots for most of these teams. So I mean,
Well,
kudos
and think
to
about this too. I mean, Halifax spends 20 minutes a game in the penalty box, so they're that it sounds like hyperbole, but I think their average is like about 22 minutes a game, all things considered.
oh,
It's
it's got
it's
to be.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So when you're spending that much time in the box, you're gonna face a million shots. Like you just it's stands to reason. So not surprised that they're at the top of the list for shots against and saves, but yeah, I think getting back to our Sask and Vegas game though, that is one high-powered offensive unit though the Rush have, and kind of like Rochester, I feel like anybody can step up and go off on any given day.
100%. They have so many guys that can. They've seemed to have actually pillaged a lot from this next game we're talking about, the San Diego Seals. I mean, you talk about everybody wants to talk about all the guys they got from Calgary, but really a lot of these guys have kind of been they like hanging on that West Coast it seems. But I mean,
Travel, it makes sense, location, and really, just for one more moment on Sask, all the credit I think's got to go to Derek Keenan, Jimmy Quinlan, and that squad. I mean, think about this, Greg. They are able to build a winner, a consistent winner in Saskatchewan. Like we're not talking about San Diego, the beach and the money and all the sell, like the easiest sell in the world. They are bringing guys to Saskatchewan and they are winning games consistently. They've won multiple championships in that city. It's extremely impressive how well they have built that franchise up, through the draft, making smart decisions, smart trades as well, bringing in guys like Zach Mans, and trading away your franchise superstar and Mark Matthews. All the credit in the world, I think's got to go to, that management group because they really know what they're doing and they are some of the best in the league.
100%. They, I mean, you talk about them in Buffalo. They are doing great things. The way you put on a show, though, like you look at the stands, they're packed, and yeah,
Yeah.
they do great things up there. They a very well run organization. I don't know how long they've been a team for. I think what they moved at one point, right? But can
Which team we talking about?
the
The
Rush?
Rush?
Yeah,
Yeah, they started in Edmonton and then moved to Saskatchewan. So they won in 2015 in Edmonton, moved to Sask in 2016, won again. Unfortunately, they beat us that year. And then were in the finals again in 17, lost to Georgia that year, I believe. And then they won it in 18 over Rochester, I believe. So yeah, yeah, but to me, what's so impressive, like I said, they're doing this in Saskatchewan. It's such an easy sell to come to San Diego. It's such an easy sell to play in Toronto or Buffalo because it's so close to home for a lot of these guys. How many players in the league are from Saskatchewan? Probably not many, So it's a tough sell. It's not great weather. It's not, you know, like the great NHL level facilities that the Bandits and Sabres share. You're in a minor league facility, but they can still get these players here and build a contending team seemingly year after year. It's just incredible work done by their department, from top to bottom.
No, 100%. They have done some great things. And actually, talking about that, we go into another market where you would think these teams would have an easier time rebuilding. I mean, you're kind of there. San Diego made a run at it. They've made some aggressive choices the last couple of years. It didn't work out for them. Toronto now, I mean, you knew there was no way the goalie performance was going to be what it was the week before. Rose, what was he, like 40%, 50%? It was terrible. I mean, I don't think anybody expected to see that again.
Yeah, it's very rare that you get two bad games in a row out of Nick Rose. I mean, he's a goalie of the year winner for a reason. I'd say I'd put him in the top 5 of goalies in this league. Yeah, you're not going to get two bad games in a row out of him. I'd be shocked if you did.
Sorry, I had my microphone muted. I was drinking some water and then started talking, and I was like, "Oh, never mind." Yeah, no, you definitely don't expect to get two bad games in a row. Speaking of backup goalies, we talked before. Hutchcraft might be one of the best ones. Holichuk, usually he was better the year before, did not do very well this year. But I mean, what do you think Toronto's realistic expectation is for the rest of the season? I mean, this game for them obviously went great. They did great against San Diego. I think San Diego is going to be a team that we're looking at going, man, where are they going to get a couple of wins from? I mean, they just don't seem to be able to put it together.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. But as far as Toronto's concerned, I think their expectations for this year, if we're being realistic, should be grow and develop, compete for a playoff spot. That's what I would say they should try and shoot for this year. Is that necessarily what you want after being, a few years removed from competing for a championship, being, 2 wins away, from getting to the finals? Not really, but that's the situation they're in. I think they have some incredible pieces. I think CJ Kurse is the man. I think he's going to be the face of the franchise for the next decade, or as long as they decide to keep him there. I think Owen Hiltz is going to be, his right-hand man for, quite some time as well. And then you have a few of your older pieces, to go along with them. I think they could be a team that sneaks into the postseason this year, potential, 7th, 8th seed, but I wouldn't be surprised if they miss as well, just with all the youth on that team. With youth comes inexperience as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. You got to get those, close games out of the way. I think that's where you really see that inexperience is when you have the closer games and games like this where they're able to kind of pull away. But I mean, to shut the Seals offense down, the Seals, had their goalie issues, they've had their defensive issues, but this year their offense has just not been able to seem to put it together.
Yeah, and you mentioned their goalie issues. They did have Cameron Dunkerley in that game, important to note as well, and only giving up 12, in his first start this year. Not too shabby, all things considered for Dunkerley. But, yeah, I mean, the San Diego offense has really not been great, especially in this game. I mean, Westberg, 2-2, Trey Leclerc, 2-1, 2 goals from Courier, but nothing from Kavanaugh in that game. No points from Connor Robinson. You need more out of a guy like him. He was your big ad in the offseason. Just looking at them throughout the year, I mean, their first game against Ottawa, it looked like they were, just picking up where they left off. 16 goals, gave up 13, but you won the game. And since then, they've only gotten above 10 once. And it was a 15-11 loss against Calgary.
Yeah, I think Ottawa's defense leaves more to be desired than most people think. I think Higgins is kind of made up for that, but I think that was kind of more on dis-
100%.
yeah, that was more on display there for this game. And like you said, they got to be happy with the performance you got out of Dunkerley. That's at least the shining star going forward. Young players for a bunch of these teams going forward, but I would say not necessarily a young player, although Jack Hanna isn't, an old man. But what a difference has it been for these guys since he's been a part of it?
Oh my goodness, yeah, and they are going to need Jack Hanna. Colorado is for the rest of the season because, unfortunately, for the Mammoth, once again, Ryan Lee is out for the rest of the season, season-ending injury. So, once again, the top player on that Mammoth right side is gone. But hey, you got Jack Hanna now to step up and fill that void.
Yeah, no, Jack Hanna's been huge since he came in. He made his presence known right away. It does suck. It's so hard with guys like that because you really want. I mean, I've never seen Ryan Lee play a full season since I've been really watching him. Last year, like he did, but at the beginning of it, he was getting back into it, and then so
Last year is an example of what you can get out of Ryan Lee when he does play that 18 game season. I mean, 95 points. That's the kind of guy he is. 36 goals. If we go back to their championship season in 2022, I mean, 119 points, 34 goals. Like he is a superstar player. It's just sometimes in this league, your best ability is availability, and he just hasn't been available. Only 6 games in 23, missed all the 24 season, and then just going to be 4 games this year. It's just been tough sledding for him lately.
yeah, it's that is no, you really can't kind of decide. You know, you don't want to pick a guy based on that because he's starting to show that. But when you get the upside, like you said, when he can play a full season last year, where you can see the difference. But I think the most impressive thing for me in this is as you look at the stat leaders, they were able to win this without anybody scoring more than a goal. Everybody just put one up. So I mean, yes, you only got 7 goals in it, but I believe Colorado, everybody only scored what they had 7 different guys that scored. Is that right?
Yeah, their leading point man was Jalen Chaster with 3 assists. So
Which is
yeah,
huge
offense
too
was spread
because
out.
a young man coming in like that, he's a rookie this year. I mean, he has been, I think, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most impressive rookies to watch.
Chaster
Is
or
he's a rookie or am I way off on that?
uh,
I just didn't
he's
know who
in
he
his
was.
fifth year.
Oh, all
He
right.
was
So
a
I didn't know who he was, but watching him this year, I've watched him and he is absolutely tearing it up. Like when he's on the floor, you see him and Jack Hanna are really getting, they gelled well together. You could see it out there.
Yeah, he's lefty transition guy, 2020 second round pick by the Mammoth. He's been a quiet player through his first few seasons in the league, but the Mammoth are going to need some of those guys that may have been quiet in years past to start stepping up. Chaster's one of them. We're looking at guys like Thomas Vela is another guy who I think they're going to need to step up. Dylan McIntosh, somebody as well. I think going to have to continue having a good season, but it's going to be all hands on deck for the Mammoth, going forward here. I mean, I don't know when Andrew Q's going to be back. He's as well on IR. Eli McLaughlin, last I checked, was on the holdout list. So I mean, it's the forward group is just getting decimated right now for the Mammoth, and everybody's going to have to step up and contribute if they want to, get continue to get some wins.
Yeah, I mean, look at they had 7 different guys score, and they still were only able to come up with 7 goals. So I mean, but I think that is credit to both of these teams are going to be competitive and successful because both of their defenses are good. You talk about young players, though. Georgia has got quite a few. They're working their way through trying to get guys up and going. Watching this game. I mean, Brett Dobson has been on fire this season. Do you think it's because he's playing so good or the defense? I think much like Higgins, Dobson is masking some holes that are in that Georgia defense. I mean, he had 50 saves in this game. Super athletic. He's emotional out there. He's firing guys up. I love watching Dobson play. I will watch a Georgia game to watch him play.
Oh, I mean, you gotta love watching the Bonnies, right? The former St. Bonaventure man, Brett Dobson. I think it's a little bit of both. Greg. Whenever you get, those kind of games, whenever a goalie wins like a goalie of the year, the defense contributed to that as well. It's similar to a team award in that respect as much as it is an individual award. But I think he is masking a few flaws, but they got some good players back there too. I really am loving what I've been seeing out of Michael Grace. I think he's going to be a transition star, for the future. Because I've seen him up doing some offensive shifts. I'm pretty sure he can go back, play some solid defense as well. He's got the size for it. Jordan McIntosh as well. He's an older guy now, but he's a veteran leader. A loose ball vacuum back there. Then you also got Adam Wiedemann back. And, Georgia's been playing this year without him up until that game against Colorado. Getting him back is huge. Jeff Henrik, he's another just solid player. I think they got a unit of kind of unsung heroes, so to speak. Not a lot of people know about, Jeff Henrik, Kaysen Tarbell, Mike Manley, like these kind of guys, but just solid, like depth contributors that, help, Dobson see shots he likes. That's a good thing they're doing as well. Forcing the opposition to just take shots that Dobson wants to see. And 56 shots, 50 saves. How often do you have a goalie that makes 50 saves, only gives up 6, and you lose?
Yeah, it's crazy. They are doing good. You talk about it. Lyle is definitely not having a great year. I think that kind of goes without saying. But he's got some young pieces there. They're working some things through. Caleb Benedict didn't get a goal. Those guys have to be able to score if they want to win. They're so young though. Where do you see? Is Lyle coming? Is it just because he's getting older? He's been playing so much. He's playing at Six Nations. He's playing box all summer, which is way harder on you than playing field is, I think. So is that kind of wearing on him? What do you see going on this year with him?
I think it's not gonna keep you fresher. It's gonna put more tread on the tires. But I don't know. It's almost like unbelievable with Lyle because he's been such a superstar for so long. It almost makes me wonder if he's playing a little hurt, playing through some things because he's just too good of a player to have 3 goals and 13 points through 5 games. He's averaging 2.6 points per game. That is like nowhere near his like average throughout his career, and it's just like shocking, like how like out of sorts he's been to start this year. I don't know if that's partly to do with having guys like Benedict and Byrne, now involved in that offense, Michael Grace as well. But I figured it would have just helped him, but he's having some difficulties this year.
Yeah, no, this is, a huge. You look at his points per game there, the PPG production, 2 points per game. That is definitely not anything you're expect. Is it power play goals or is that points
I
per
think
game?
that's power play
Oh,
goals.
okay. I thought it was
Yeah.
points per game. I was going to say because that is
I had to do a
atrocious.
little math on the points per game. So
Okay. Yeah. So what is? We should figure that. Yeah. 3 goals.
yeah, I didn't want to
13.
go through every year, but I went through this year, and I can safely say he was averaging more than 2 throughout his career. Just looking at the number of 100-point seasons he's had.
Oh
So
yeah. That is a big thing. You need that, but again, it's one of those things you're kind of working things through. Hopefully they get it figured out. I think the problem for Georgia is going to be they don't seem to, either their offense is singing or their defense is on fire for that night, and kind of.
well, and just for them on the year, they're only averaging 8.2 goals per game, but you're only giving up 7.4. So it's like you're not giving up many, but you can't put them in the net either. So they're just kind of been stuck in that spot for this year.
Yeah, no, there's definitely worse positions to be in. At least you're keeping it down. It's not like Vegas, because as you get the offense to fire together, it gives you an opportunity. Whereas in Vegas, you really need your offense to fire, not just consistently, but on fire for the night, like, over 15 goals, and you can hopefully keep a team under 15. It's
100%.
yeah, rough going.
Vegas almost has to get 15 every game to have a shot. Whereas Georgia, if they can just get that offense to come together, you've been getting great defense and goaltending. You'll have a shot in every game.
Absolutely. And this was a big weekend for Halifax. I think the only reason I think a lot of people are excited about the way Oshawa played, but I honestly think the only reason Oshawa played so good is because this was such a brutal game the night before. I mean, you talk about this Halifax Ottawa game. Not sure if you watched it, but typical Halifax fashion, it was an emotional game.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that's very prevalent when you do watch them. They play with a lot of emotion, play with a lot of passion, and that's never once been a question. It's just sometimes I feel like they let it go, let it go too far and end up taking costly penalties. And just when I watched them play against Buffalo, it felt like you know they were keeping us in that game, giving us chances because they just kept taking stupid penalties. And it's like we were too good of a team to do that to it. They got lucky and were able to get through it, but you just can't do that all year and expect to win games. They are able to get through Ottawa, but not able to sweep the weekend.
No, and when you look at the end of the game there, it's it's like, oh man, they're the only ones taking penalties in the fourth quarter. What are you doing? And some of those are good penalties though. Like 3 seconds left of the game, you're going to take the holding penalty. You're going to give them the shot when things are that close. I honestly think though, so them able to hold Halifax scoreless in the second. Wow, people have been able to do that somewhat consistently against this Halifax offense. Is it as far as shutting them out?
I mean, yeah, it's they're have had some consistency struggles this year. Yeah, both ends, but some just looking at what they did do in that game. I like the play of Will McLeod. And talking about the game against Ottawa, I mean, he's a guy I got to watch over the summer with Brooklyn Merchants, and he really impressed me there. And how about that, Greg? Coming in, first game, 4 goals, 2 assists. Like, what an entrance to the NLL. This is a guy I was, clamoring should be a top 5 draft pick in the draft, and he really stepped up and helped them out big time in that game when they needed it.
What is it about Halifax that these rookies come into the league on fire? So what last year they had that Aaron Woods, an older rookie, but coming in out of the ALL, and now they've got McLeod coming. I think that comes with the emotional, the emotion that guys play with because you could tell that is a very tight knit family unit. A lot of those guys they are going to war with each other every time they're out there. They just a consistently good team, but I don't know. They just haven't been able to seem to quite put it together. They had a rough weekend. That second game, Oshawa, I watched none of it really. I put it on for a second. I saw the score was a lot to a little. I had no desire to watch Oshawa, trounce on Halifax, which is weird because pretty much every time Halifax is on, I watch them.
I mean, they play, they're an entertaining team, that's for sure. There's always going to be fireworks and flares when you're watching the Thunderbirds. And just to go back to my point about the penalty minutes for a second, Halifax is at 160 through 6 games. When you do the math, that's an average of 26.6 penalty minutes a game. So, I mean, yeah, you're spending over a quarter in the box a game. That is just far too much. They have more penalty minutes taken than a few teams had last season. It is a problem for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Wow. I knew they were rough, but I guess I didn't realize it was that
For
bad.
perspective, Saskatchewan had 140 penalty minutes all last year. Georgia had 153. They were, outliers, but still, Halifax already has more penalty minutes taken this year than they had in a full 18-game season last year.
That's amazing, especially seeing we're not even, we're only 6 games in. You're not even halfway through the season.
And, the fact that they're winning as many games as they are speaks to how much talent they have on the team and how well their team is playing. They just, are not sometimes taking themselves out of games because of penalties. And it's just, Glenn Clark said something at the end of the game along the lines of like, it's predictable. And it is with them.
Yeah.
I think they could have a championship if they just didn't take so many penalties.
See, but I always wonder because if you take away that passion, I mean, yes, they need to stop taking so many penalties, but it's such a fine line. I think the other thing is though, this year Warren Hill has been on fire. So like it's
He's he's a big reason why they've won 3 games this year, has been the play of the king of the hill. He has really stepped up when they've needed it. If honestly, I was somebody who thought maybe they would, I don't know the contract situation, but I thought there was maybe a shot they'd move off him, especially with, how their season ended and whatnot. But no, they brought him back once again, and it's looking like a good decision. I mean, he has been excellent for him. I said earlier on in the season that he was the goalie of the year favorite. I think Dobson may have usurped him now, but he's second for me right now.
100% no. I would 100% agree with that order. And now we need to get on to the picks because we spent 40 minutes on our wrap up that we thought we were going to spend 20 minutes on.
Oh, when you get me going, Greg, we just keep on going, keep on rolling downhill.
Downhill.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting weekend coming up here, Greg. Lots of action across the NLL, plenty of games Friday and Saturday, and there's quite a few here that I think are going to be tough to decide between. I can see you picked Colorado over Halifax, though, to kick things off.
Yeah, I really think you talked about it with the penalties. I think the way Colorado's playing defensively, they're super responsible. They're just a well-disciplined team, and they have been able to keep the shots down on a lot of these teams. So I think they're going to be able to do it against Halifax, although Halifax might have a bigger chip on their shoulder because they did get blown out by Oshawa. I'm curious to see how you fall on this one.
This was one I was having a tough time deciding between. I really think for Colorado, for them to win just about any game this year, Malcolm and Hannah are really going to have to shoulder the load. But I think it could be a defensive battle in this one, despite that. And, Colorado scored 10 or less in every game. And Halifax has given up 11 or less in 5 out of their 6 games. So I really think it'll be low scoring. Just if Halifax can stay out of the box, I think they really won't have a problem. If they don't, then I think it'll be real close. But I'm going to give the edge to the home team. I'm going to go Halifax. But I think it's going to be a close game between them. I think Colorado will give them a real game.
100%. Either way, it's going to be close. I think it does come down to the discipline. If I put the over-under at 18, so both teams get 9 goals or one, it's 18 goals, are you going over or under on that?
We got to do it like Vegas. We got to do 18 and a half.
Okay.
I'd go under. I mean, like I said, Colorado scored 10 or less in every game. So right there, I think that helps in favor of the under. And Halifax as well. They don't give up a lot. So I'd lean that way.
Yeah, and this one, I'm pretty sure I can just take you and go like this. I think they lost last weekend. Buffalo is a team that is going to come back possessed. They're not going to be happy. They obviously do not want to get beat again. They're home in Bandit Land. One thing that can't be, not acknowledged, I feel like we would be doing a disservice to ourselves, is the way the Buffalo Bandits fans travel. In Rochester, you can hear them battling with literally, let's go Bandits, and the PA guys got to get on, let's go Hawks, to get them to, it's impressive. So I know you're picking them. What I'm curious about is, do you think they score more than 15 goals in this game after last weekend's performance?
Yeah, they might have to with how the Ottawa offense is performing. I mean, they're a strong group right now, and granted the Ottawa defense hasn't been great. You know what? More than 15? I'm gonna say no, but I think it'll be around that number. I wouldn't be shocked if they hit 14. I don't think that's that. I think it'll be around 15. I don't know if it'll be more, but I think Ottawa. I mean, it's not gonna. They're not gonna be a pushover like they were last year. My buddies and I made the trip up to Ottawa, got to watch that game. It was awesome experience, but we rolled through them. The game was over at halftime pretty much. They were non-competitive. That I don't think is going to be the case this year. Riley O'Connor looks like a totally different player. He's coming off an 8-point performance. Rob Hellier has been, some much-needed life into that offense. And that team is finally more than just Jeff Teat. Kiernan's contributing as well. guys like Callum Jones and Brent Noseworthy, if they can step up, I think Ottawa can be a playoff team this year. But I think Buffalo, like you said, they're going to be possessed. They're going to be playing pissed off. They're not going to be happy with how things went. If we can just get some more scoring and more consistency, I like our chances. And I'm eager to see if our new acquisition, Mike McCannell, plays in the game. Former fifth overall pick in 2021 by the Seals. Picked him up for a third-round pick from Philly, to help with a transition game. Eager to see if he'll get some action.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I honestly think, I don't know, just it will depend on how the defense is and if Belter's back or what's going on with that. But I just don't see this being much of a game. I think Buffalo is not going to like the way things ended up for them last week, so they're going to. I really see them making a statement on this.
I hope so. I hope you are right. I would love nothing more than that.
I will be very surprised if going into this next game you pick San Diego. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on Vancouver. And if I am wrong, please explain to me why in the world you would pick San Diego.
As much as I want to tell you you're wrong, you are right. I am going to pick Vancouver. Um, Vancouver has won, they've won three in a row. They've, they haven't been, crazy high powered just yet, only getting above 11 goals one time, but it was a 15 goal performance against Vegas. But they're not allowing more than 10 either in a lot of their games. So they're doing pretty good all around. I think it's only a matter of time before that team gets rolling. San Diego has just struggled to develop their chemistry so far. Origlieri was on the IR for the previous week. He was activated now, so it looks like he will be the starter, which does give them a much better chance. But I don't know if I see it for San Diego on this one, especially going on the road. I'm gonna have to go with Vancouver.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance they do. This next game though that we're getting ready to get into, this Georgia Calgary game, I think honestly could probably be the most competitive game of the weekend. I think this could be when you talk about just fireworks and which way it goes. I think this gritty Calgary team, they're going to try to make a statement. They lost in a close one last week. The Georgia offense hasn't been great. They're going to try to they're going to try to be physical. And do you see this Roughnecks young man, our young squad, being able to secure a win? Are you going to go with the tried and true Lyle and think he's back in more of a Lyle Thompson fashion?
Greg, it's so hard to say. I think you're exactly right. I think this is going to be one of the most competitive and entertaining games of the weekend. There was two games I was really unsure of who I was picking. First one was Colorado Halifax. The other one was this game, Calgary and Georgia. I think the biggest difference or biggest factor in this game is the fact that this is the unboxed game, right? This is in Edmonton. So we're not having to worry about the travel to Georgia, which I think really hurts the Roughnecks traveling all the way down there. Instead, Georgia, for a home game, is having to travel all the way across the continent, which kind of sucks for them. But still, I think on that edge, I think I'd have to lean towards Calgary. Even though I think Calgary, 1-4, having a tough year, I still would have to lean towards them in this situation.
Yeah, me as well. I just think they need to Georgia. I got to see something out of their offense before I'm going to believe in it. And Calgary, they just lost a tough one. They're going to be going. Sanderson's done a great job getting them ready. I agree 100%. I would like
And
to. Oh, sorry.
I want to say, and Greg, I mean, you're absolutely right. For this being a close game, I mean, history has shown that when these two teams hook up, they put out some close games. I mean, last four games between these two squads all decided between one goal or less, or one goal. And the last three games have all went to overtime. So I would expect a very good contest for all the folks up in Edmonton.
Oh wow, yeah, that is going to be yeah. That is, those little nuggets of information are what I absolutely love about this show. Thank you, Trevor, very much for that. This next one, I would like to believe we can roll in there, and we're going to roll right over the top of Toronto. But I have learned as a fan of this sport, there is definitely no easy wins in this league. Everybody deserves to be there. What do you see first, the keys to victory if the Rock can beat the Nighthawks? And then I'll let you make your pick.
I mean, I think it'll be a competitive game. First off, I think, like you said, there's no easy victories. For Toronto, you got to have a good game out of Rose. That's first and foremost. And really, I think CJ Kirst has got to continue to, be the man. 5 goals in their last game. They seem to rely on him a lot. I think they're going to continue to do so, but I think you also need big performances from guys like Challen Rogers and Josh Dowick. Like Chris Bushi might need to, step up and get you some goals. Latrell Harris hasn't scored a goal yet in transition. He's had 6 points, which is matching what he had all of last year, I believe, in 13 games. He just hasn't gotten a goal yet. But if he can step up and get you one, that'll really help. So I think it's just, the team coming together a bit for Toronto is what they need to win this game. I think that's a lot to ask, so I'm going to go with Rochester.
Absolutely.
We saw against Buffalo, their D, they can bring the heat. Zed Williams, starting to get going now. He had a 5-point game. Thomas McConvey looks like he was a good pick at number 1 overall a few years ago, 7-point game. Of course, Connor Fields and Ryan Smith. I mean, you can just keep reading the whole team, the whole list for them. It's an incredible group they got. I'm gonna have to go with the Nighthawks.
And over or under in this game is going to be, I'm going to set it at 12.5, and I'm going to say shots for Connor Fields. Is he over or under 12.5?
Interesting. I feel like he should be under. With the amount of guys you got there, I don't know if he needs to take more than 12.5 shots. That's a good one there. I like the shot over unders here as well. That mixes it up. I'll say under.
Okay, I think if they win, he has to be under. If they lose, he's over that because he's they're stressing and he's trying to make too much happen. I think.
Good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I also this next game, I'm pretty sure you're going to pick the Rush, but in what crazy fantasy land do the Oshawa Firewolves beat the Rush?
If they keep doing what they've been doing, from last week, if they have the same kind of performance that they did against Halifax, then they're going to have just as good a shot as anybody to beat the Rush. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But I think, Sask is just, like I said, they're just a complete team. Like, they are the true definition of a team. I loved what I've been seeing out of Ryan Keenan. I mean, 12 points out of him in their last game. Robert Church as well, 10-point effort. Zach Mans had 9. Shanks had 8. Something that was crazy to me, though, Greg, about that 21-goal performance that Saskatchewan had, only 1 goal and 1 assist were generated by non-forwards in that game. So they got 21 goals and by and large didn't get anything from transition D guys in that game. So that shows you how high-powered their offense is. Give me the Rush all the way.
Oh, wow. That is a crazy stat, and especially when you talk about the way the Firewolves play, where that transition is such a big part. If the Rush are able to get that kind of offensive production and just hopefully shut down the Firewolves transition, I am very glad I made the pick I did. I honestly, so I think Albany, though, I think you're going to see with Dougie. I just think the Rush are going to pick him apart way more. I think Halifax was tired. They weren't shooting as good as they normally do. I don't know what's going on with Dougie. I think he's just been very inconsistent, but I don't remember the last time he's put together 2 games like he had a pretty good performance in the last one, but I don't remember the last time he's put 2 of them together.
Yeah, he's had a tough go this year. I don't think he's been the problem at all really for them this season. I think it's been more the other end of the floor. But the game against Ottawa is really the one that sticks out for me as the worst game for him this year. I think I'd like to say that I could count on Jameson to at least give you solid production. It's just kind of at that point, I think, on the defense in front of him. But I think it almost doesn't matter in this game. I just think with how well Saskatchewan is playing, they're just damn near impossible to pick against right now. I just can't do it with how well they've been playing. They deserve to get my pick, so they're going to get it here for this one. I think the Rush are going to take it to them.
Absolutely. And now we kind of move on to the battle for the bottom. If you think anybody else should be in this group besides these two teams, I'd like to hear it. I think Vegas wins this because I think Vegas is closer to getting out of the bottom. I think they're a goalie away. I think Philadelphia has so many problems with their defense, though. Now that Higgins has been gone, and you're really starting to see it with Damoud, who I was a big fan of when he was playing in Texas, but I don't know if it's just the style or what it is that his things aren't going well for them. I see them being a team like like Vegas, where they have to score a lot of goals to win. This game, I think if Philly wins it, boy, they got to have, I bet you, 15 goals easily.
Well, they've been getting increasingly more and more as their season has went on. They got 8 in the first game, 11 in their second, 12 in the third, 13th in the fourth. So they've been steadily getting better throughout the season scoring goals. Granted, they've also given up more and more gradually as each game has went on as well. Started giving up 7, then 15, 16, 16. So to answer your first initial question, who do I think belongs in that bottom group? I think you could throw Oshawa in there as well, but I think those are probably the 3 teams that are in the basement right now. And I will go with Vegas. I think they are closer to getting out of it, like you said. I think they have the firepower. I do agree they're a goalie away from being like a playoff team for sure. It's just the thing with Vegas, though, is, they've given up 15 or more in each of their last 2 games. That game allowing 21's 4th time in franchise history. They've allowed 21 goals in a game. But Philly's not playing great either. Lost 3 in a row. I just think I got to go with Vegas right now. I find it hard to believe that, a Sean Williams-led team is going to have a stinker like that at home, especially after, getting blown out the way they did.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. So for my over-under questions on this one, Kluche, more than 5 goals?
More than 5? No, under.
So he's under. I honestly think if he scores less than 5, they don't win.
Yeah, he's got to contribute. Like he definitely, but I just think they have enough guys that they can get the production spread out. Mitch Jones is a stud. Chase Fraser can go off. Jonathan Donville. I love watching Jonathan Donville. To me, he's one of the most dangerous players in that offense that people don't really talk about for whatever reason. They did have to put Sean Wesley on IR, so that is going to hurt. Signed Ben McDonald as a free agent, so we'll see how that affects their offense. But, Jackson Webster's been somebody that stepped up. Adam Poitras as well, but it's just, it all starts with the guys on the back end for me with Vegas. If you can get some solid production there, you'll be all right. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be, I think it'll be a high scoring affair because neither team's defense has really been spectacular to start this season. So, it could be another 21 plus goal game here out in Las Vegas, but I think the Desert Dogs fans will be hoping they're the ones that put up 20 plus this time.
Yeah, no, I think whatever team wins is going to have to score over 17 goals. I think their defense and so I guess my over under on you for the second or part 2 would be how Landon Kells, does he finish the game or not? So it's not really an over under, but basically, do you think Kells makes it through this entire game?
That's an interesting one. They just brought Alex Bouquet back onto the active roster and sent Caleb Kahn back down to the practice squad. So I don't think they're going to be afraid to pull him. So I'm gonna say no. I don't think he does. He might. it might not be for a long period of time. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to get pulled because he's just playing like garbage or anything, but sometimes you do these momentum goalie changes where you just get him out for a couple minutes, let him get a breather, and then get him back in. We maybe will see something like that, I think, but we'll see. Philly's got some firepower too. Like I said, I think it'll be a high-scoring game between these two teams. I love watching Brendan O'Neill play. He is must-see TV. Joe Resetarits, the Buffalo boy, incredible to watch as well. Michael Sowers as well. I want to give him some love. First game this year, 4 goals, 3 assists. Greg, he had 4 goals and 3 assists in his whole career over 5 games played last year. He steps up 7-point game for Philly. It goes down in a losing effort, but just want to give Michael Sowers some love there as well. Former 3rd-round pick, 41st overall in the 2020 draft by the New England Black Wolves.
Aha, there's a throwback. And so essentially I'm staring at this goalie chart on NLLstats.com, and Dobson has been killing it this year. Last question, then we're going to wrap the show up here. Does he finish over 85%? Because that would be impressive. I think there's no way he stays this hot, but you think he could finish over 85%?
Oh man, that's a lot to ask. I'd have to go back and look at some previous years, see where guys finish. I'd have to say it'll come down a little bit. I know the goals against average has got to go up. Like, that's one I'll tell you for certain. I know he's not going to finish averaging under like 8 goals against per game or something like that. I mean, when you see him next to all the backups that have only played a few minutes, when you're looking at these kind of stats, that's how you know you're having an unreal season, is when you're comparable to what they've put up in 15 minutes. He is having an unbelievable year. I'm going to say no. The save percentage drops down a little bit. He'll come back down to reality, but I think he has a real shot at winning a Goalie of the Year award this season.
Yeah, no, and actually, after you said that, I unclicked the button just to see it. So if you've never been to NLL Stats, there's those save percentages get a little misleading sometimes because, like you said, guys will come in for a little bit. Like, you look at Devlin Shanahan with 85%, and you're like, oh, wow, how is that? But it really is impressive that when I click that button, he is right there and that so it is.
Yeah, usually you have to sift through all the backups and like, all right, well, find the guy who's actually played, a few hundred minutes. Okay, he counts. Like, no, he's just in front of everybody. Like, that's how well he's been playing. Like, he is unequivocally the best goalie in the league right now. It's just, will it come back down to earth? That's the question. I'd say yes, but I think he'll still be among the elite by the time the season's over.
Absolutely. Well, good luck this week, Trevor. I know we need it. Sometimes our picks don't go so well. But thank you so much for all the time. I appreciate it. And what do you got going on? You're calling all kinds of games. What is your schedule for this coming week?
Oh, busy as ever. Just got done with some more ESPN college basketball yesterday. Did my first Battle of the Bridge game, Niagara and Canisius, the big rivalry out here. That was exciting. Got some UB basketball coming up this weekend. I'm on their production crew for that, so that'll be a fun time. And then just sitting back and watching the Buffalo Bills play this weekend after we get done working. So that's the tentative game plan for me this weekend.
All right, sounds like a good time. We will see you guys next week. Hopefully on Wednesday, Verizon hopefully won't lose all their service like they did to about a random million of us. It was so weird, but all right, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
Just look at the smile you're putting on Trevor's face. Thanks so much, channel members.